Here's just another example of factoring. Again, with every time they want you to factor, I guess we're wanting to solve this, but we need to factor to solve it. But every time you want to look to see if you can find a common factor. And I think 4 will divide into all of these. So you can do one of two things. You can divide every term by 4, and that actually gets rid of the 4, or you can factor the 4 out. You can only divide them all by 4 and get rid of the 4 if it's an equation like this. If it were an expression like this, 4x squared minus 28x plus 40, and they just said factor that, you couldn't get rid of the 4. You'd have to factor the 4 out like that. Okay, so let's do that here. Let's just factor the 4 out. So 4, and then it'll leave me with x squared minus 28 divided 4, I think is 7, plus 40 divided 4 is 10, equals 0. Okay, so now, since there's no number out front of the x squared, and you sort of forget about the 4 outside for now, but since there's no number out there, all I'm doing is looking at the 10 and the 7. So two numbers that multiply to 10, and the same two numbers have to add to a negative 7. So I look for 10 up on my chart. There's a 10, there's a 10, there's a 10, there's a 10. So it's either 10 times 1 or minus 10 times minus 1, or what's this one? 5 and 2. So negative 5 times negative 2, or positive 5 times positive 2. Okay, the one that adds to a negative 7 is going to be that one right there. So up here I have 4, and then my two brackets, x and x, and then I'm picking minus 5 and minus 2 equals 0. Okay, factored. Now, the purpose of factoring is so you can do this next part. So to solve this equation, I'm using the 0 property that says if I multiply things, and in this case I've got 3 things. If I multiply 3 things and they get 0, then either A is 0, or B is 0, and C is 0. So I can do that here. So I can say 4 is 0, or x minus 5 is 0, or x minus 2 is 0. Now 4 equals 0 is not a true statement, so I can cancel that solution out. That won't give me an answer. But here I can add 5 to both sides, and here I can add 2 to both sides. So my solutions to that equation are 5 and 2. Now if you wanted to, you can actually go and check. So here's my original equation, minus 28x plus 40 equals 0. They're saying, or I'm saying, that if I plug a 5 in everywhere I see an x, that whole thing will come out to 0. Let's try it. So 4 times 5 squared minus 28 times 5 plus 40, is that equal to 0? Okay, 5 squared is 25, and 25 times 4 is 100. You could just put that whole thing into your calculator, or into decimals if you wanted. 28 times 5, 140, I think. So minus 140 plus 40. Is that equal to 0? 100 take away 40 is negative 40, and negative 40 plus 40, sure enough, gives me 0. Therefore, 5 is one of the answers. And I could check with 2 as well. I could put a 2 in everywhere there's an x, and it'll come out to 0 as well. Okay, hopefully that helps you with that question.